Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to EBRU Primetime News with me, Grace MUTANGO. First of all, let's have a look at the headlines.
That is, most schools have too much bureaucracy, making principals unreachable by students.
Embrace open talks with students to avert unrest. Ngaiseri advises school heads. Kenyans urged to embrace regular checkups as thousands participate in Safaricom Diabetes Walk. 4 years down the line in Mathare, IDPs still living in squalor's condition.
Soida places it in the pot and it's in the net.
And Igwe Clouds Thika United mauling them with 4 goals to 0. Well, to status of Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Ngaiseri has urged school heads to create communication lines for students to express their grievances. The CS says this will be a sure way of stemming the wanton arrests that have been experienced in various schools.
Ngaiseri was addressing school heads during an event organized to get to the root of the worrying happenings at the various schools. The Interior Cabinet Secretary said that investigations by his office revealed 120 reported cases of students' unrest in the last 18 months. He further said 92 cases happened last year, while 28 were reported in the last 6 months.
The secondary school constitute the most vulnerable institution where the structures of discipline and moral uprightness seem to have decayed. This is now the issue of leadership. On the side of this, our observation, on the side of those who lead this institution.
Ngaiseri said the audit report by his ministry found communication as the major gap.
Majority of problems in our institutions come from secondary schools. And this is purely a problem of leadership. Limited channels of communication between students and head of institutions. That is, most schools have too much bureaucracy, making principals unreachable by students. Thus, disgruntled student may never reach the principals. And then they will vent their emotion through riots and through demonstrations for you to get to their attention.
He said principals of schools should, among other things, ensure that everybody in their schools, including themselves, demonstrated the necessary discipline and hard work that defined functioning institutions anywhere.
So you need to be honest. You need to be people of integrity. And then that's the only way of pushing this agenda. And all this problem of schools, if you bring those real factors to bear, then I think you'll be heading good institution.
The event was also attended by Education Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i. The Education CS urged the principals of the 105 national schools to mentor their colleagues in a bid to avert what is now degenerating into a crisis in the education sector.
And elsewhere, thousands of participants from all walks of life thronged the carnival grounds this morning for the 12th edition of Safaricom Diabetes Walk, as called to the public to take health precautions through regular checkups intensify. The walk, which is held every year, is used to raise funds to support diabetic children under the age of 18 years from underprivileged backgrounds. Speaking during the flag-off of the event, Diabetes Management Center Executive Director Eva Mushemi said the walk has contributed to the efforts of DMI in making a positive impact in its effort to fight diabetes.
Our main focus in our work is to have children participate in this work, children and young people. Reason being that we want them to know One, about social responsibility early, and about helping those who are disadvantaged. Again, it is to know that there are children who are not as, who don't have the advantage that they have, who do not have even the basic that they need, and that is insulin.
Today's walk saw 83 schools from Nairobi and other regions participate, with another 37 schools expected to take part in the second walk that will be held next week on 16th July in Mombasa. One of the biggest challenges is a high cost of insulin, a life-saving essential drug that helps manage the condition. Since its launch 17 years ago, DMI Center has been carrying out awareness campaigns that include community screening drives and health talks, training of school teachers and peer educators, as well as provision of insulin kits to children living with diabetes at no cost. Kenya's diabetes prevalence rate is currently estimated at 3.5% by the year 2025. This is expected to have risen to 4.5%. That's well over 2 million Kenyans expected to be living with diabetes in the next 9 years.
And elsewhere, referral hospitals have raised an alarm over the increased numbers of emergency patients, majorly road accidents victims. According to the National Transport Authority, the hospitals are believed to be losing millions of shillings as a result of receiving these patients who mostly don't pay their medical bills. The National Transport Safety Authority Director General Francis Major says at least 50% of most referral hospital patients are road accident victims. This has led to long bed occupancy, leading to pressure on the service delivery, thus affecting normal hospital operations.
Therefore, it's a big burden to us, because when one has an accident, maybe a broken bone, they stay in the ward for a very long time. Therefore, the bed occupancy is very long. When you have a very high bed occupancy and average length of stay is increased, then you find that our services are kind of impaired, because the number of beds are limited for this facility.
And, it's a big challenge. And from the information we are getting from the doctor, his biggest challenge are victims of road accidents. You see people who are serious, maimed, broken legs, limbs, and these things can be avoided if only we decided to be a little bit more disciplined.
Major Father says most referral hospitals are now losing millions of shillings annually to patients who are unable to pay their bills, as patients stay in hospital for longer periods.
Some of them stay here for a very long time, but in the end, we'll waive those bills. The bills are in the hundreds of thousands. Therefore, that will put a financial constraint to the facility. We strain a lot as a facility to offer those kind of services. We want to encourage most of the border riders and even the common wananchi to have insurance. NHIF now is able to cover for them those who will be injured. That one will help us in terms of offering the good services we have been offering to these patients.
The NTSA boss said this after visiting the lone survivor of the Chrisley Road accident at a Tora area along the Kisii-Kilgoris highway that claimed the lives of 7 students.
And we want to pass a message that as a people, we must make this the last such incident. And we pray and hope that no other parent will lose their children under similar circumstances. It is so painful. It is a loss to the family, to the country as a whole, and it's something that we must do everything that is possible to stop this from recurring going forward.
National Transport Safety Authority has guaranteed to take keen interest on the progress of Mercy's recovery, even as she prepared to be discharged from the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital.
Okay, thank you very much.
And now to Meru County, a section of Mira farmers and leaders from Meru County have told EBRU farmers who grow muguka to lobby for their own funds from President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Mira farmers have told their EBRU counterparts that they should not expect a cent from 1 million Kenya shillings the Mira farmers received from President Uhuru Kenyatta. The scramble for the 1 billion shillings set aside by the government to revive Mira sub-sector has continued to be witnessed, with EBRU muguka farmers maintaining that they must get a share. Mbeere North Member of Parliament Muriuki Njagawa and his Manyata counterpart John Mushiri have called on the government to heed the demands by the EBRU County farmers. The MPs say the government should consider reconstituting the task force formed to find solutions to the crisis facing the Mira sector. They want EBRU representative to be incorporated. Additionally, they want 40% of the 1 billion shillings.
So tungeomba tu watu wa EBRU County sana sana wa Mbeere na wa EBRU waingizwe kwa hiyo task force, na ile pesa nayo serikali ilitoa 1.6 billion, at least a third 400 million ikuje hapa EBRU County.
These even as Mira farmers from Igembe Central and Igembe North have advised the muguka farmers to seek audience with the president so as to air their concerns. Further, they insisted that the government only categorized Mira as a cash crop and not muguka. And as the Mira and muguka farmers continue to talk at each other, the task force appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta has already begun its work. And Baringo County Senator Gideon Moi has refuted claims that KANU has joined the opposition coalition code. Moi says the Jago party only partnered with the code to intensify calls for the disbandment of IEBC.
Speaking yesterday in Marigat, Gideon Moi said that his party is only advancing a common cause with the opposition and that there is no any political realignment.
Wengine walisema ati KANU imeingia code na KANU haijaingia code. Hiyo ni siasa ya watu, pesa nani? KANU inasimama kivyake.
Moi says the Jogo party is still in Jubilee and they will honor the pre-election agreement they signed with the ruling coalition.
In 2013, baada ya kura na baada ya hiyo mambo yote, tulisign agreement, coalition, tuko kwa coalition ya gani? Ya Jubilee. But, and as we honor our commitments, as faithful members, that's what we are.
At the same time, the Baringo senator has maintained that KANU supports the ongoing electoral reforms talks. He says the party was aggrieved by the manner in which the electoral body managed the Kericho mini poll.
And still ahead, the Ministry of Roads has begun refurbishing roads within Malindi town following the surge in the number of tourists in Kilifi County. The ministry says they are doing every possible thing to ensure that they maximize on the booming season.
The tourism industry is gradually picking up at the coastal region after over 3 months of the low season. Local tourists are now flocking coastal regions of Malindi and Watamu. The Ministry of Roads, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development has already begun refurbishing the roads in the region. Most of the roads within the town are in bad condition, with big potholes that had become a menace to motorists and other road users. Special advisor to the ministry, Mr. Philip Charo, says the contractors are on the ground.
Contractor walikuwa wamefikia huko Kilifi, lakini kwa sababu ya ile barabara vile tulivyoona imeharibika sana hapa Malindi, ikabidi tuongee nao at least waje kuanza kuleta priority kwanza huku Malindi. Ndio maana mnaona ingawaje inafaa kuwa bado wamefika upande wa Tezo, lakini wameruka wamekuja Malindi kidogo kuja kuanza kufanya patch up, kwa sababu tuliona tukisubiri hadi watakapofika itakuwa muda mwingi na huenda barabara ikazidi kuharibika kabisa. Nao tunashukuru kwa sababu walikubali zile instructions tulizowapa.
Speaking after inspecting the works at Eden Rock area yesterday, Charo said that the upgrading of Malindi town roads will start at Tamanjua to the Shell petrol station formerly known as BP. Malindi constituency received the highest allocation from the national government for roads project, where various roads are set to be upgraded.
Serikali inachotaka ni kwamba tuhakikishe kwamba Malindi as far as infrastructure is concerned iwe iko katika hali ambayo haiwezi kuwa ni excuse ya tourism kufa. Na kilichoko ni kwamba serikali itafanya upande wake. Ministry ya Tourism pia ninajua inaweka mikakati mingi, lakini pia ni lazima tukubali na tuelewe kwamba hii tourism sio kwamba inauawa na barabara, sio kwamba tu inauawa na hali ya usalama, ila tourism ina factors nyingi ambazo zimeiathiri, mojawapo ikiwa hata hali ya uchumi ya kule Europa.
Some of the projects, he said, were ongoing in Kwale, Mariakani to Muveni Road, which are almost complete. Charo said plans for tamaking the Malindi-Salgate Road were at an advanced stage and the date for the project to kick off shall be set soon.
It's been 8 years, but Ruth Nguhi and Jane Waithera still remember the post-election violence vividly. Having lost property and still living in poverty now, the ordeal scared their lives permanently. Even as the nation nears polls, all the two and many like them hope for is a peaceful election. Our reporter Mushina Maloba visited the two living in Mathare and brings us the following story.
Noxious fumes from charred borders, assaulted women and children, families displaced. These were the markings of the 2007-2008 post-poll violence. A dark cloud engulfed the country and people succumbed following violent circumstances, dying in the name of politics. It's been 8 years, but for the victims it can feel just like yesterday, with many still seeking justice following the violence perpetrated against them. Has time played its part in aiding healing from the past? This question led us to the heart of Mathare North Chawa, where we found Ruth Nguhi, a woman who lost all her property to the violence and is currently living with over 16 children in a small house in destitution. Despite having received the compensation from the government, she was displaced again, a forced nomad in her own country, displaced not once or twice, but over 6 times, and with economic strain, she's hard-pressed to find ways to earn a living, not to mention support her children. Her children are forced to go out to the markets looking for food that has been disposed so as to get a meal.
Nikafukuzwa hapo, nikatoka hapo tena, nikaenda pahali pengine na hapo kwa kijiji hii tu, area 3. Kwa pahali iko mto na iko mafi mingi sana. Tena nikaishi hapo na watoto wangu. Tena hapo kukaa sina pesa. Kufukuzwa tu, yani kazi yangu ni kama ya kufukuzwa. Na hii kazi yangu ya kurogota mikefe na mnai, hata ingine iko pale na gunia, na rogotaga moja saa ingine chakula ni shida. Hakuna kupata chakula, mimi mkunywaji wa madawa hii yote, hata saa ingine hii simesagi sababu ya njaa vingi sana. Nikimesa natapikaga. Juu hakuna kitu.
The plight of the displaced in these informal settlements is what led Jane Waithera to stand as a voice for the group, but it is not without inspiration that she stood. She's a former community health worker and a chairlady for the women group in the village. We walk with her as she recalls the violent ordeal and how the community was affected.
Hapa nikiongelea hii kijiji, mimi nilikuwa mkaaji wa hii kijiji. Na hii kijiji tulichomewa 2007. Tukawa hatuko mahali popote. Sasa tunaishi maisha ya kuhangaika, na vile mimi kama mimi ningeulizwa ningesema serikali ijue vile tutafanya, kwa sababu tulikuwa kwa hii kijiji, wale walikuwa Moro walirudishwa kwa mashamba zao, wale wengine waliathirika, kila mtu alirudishiwa kitu yake, lakini sisi vitu zetu zote ziliishi hapa.
The flashback did not last long as her thoughts came to the present and focused on what's going to happen in 2017. Keeping in mind that during the anti-IEBC demonstration, her stalls were razed down by protesters again, forcing the stallholders to now use polythene papers as shades for their kiosks.
Tunaelekea uchaguzi mwingine, na huo uchaguzi mwingine unakuja, bado umeanza kuleta dalili mbaya, kwa sababu hata hizi vibanda zetu unaona pale zote zilikuwa zimechomwa zote. Kwa hivyo kile ningesema ni serikali ituangalie sana, ijue vile itaturudishia makao, ijue vile watoto wetu watasoma na vile tutaishi, na pia kitu ya muhimu sana, wajue vile siasa ya raundi hii itaendelea, kwa sababu ilianza na ubaya.
Walking to a place, I'm puzzled about the living condition of this area. Sewage passing near doorsteps of the shanty houses, garbage all over, impassable road paths, the dingy condition barely habitable for human life. But she has no choice. This is home. Her grandchildren welcome us into their humble home. She takes us back to the time before the 2007 clashes, where she had rental houses and business was booming until violence broke out, and with that, she lost all she owned. She started over when she took refuge at Soul Winning Church in Mathare North.
Mimi nilikuwa mzuri sana, nilikuwa sawa kabisa juu nilikuwa na pesa yangu. Nyumba zangu sikuwa nalipa, hata zingine nilikuwa nakodesha. Juu nilikuwa nimejenga kwa hiyo kijiji. Sasa 2007 ndio iniletea shida. Juu vitu zangu zote ziliibiwa, nyumba zikachomwa. Sasa ndio nikabaki fukara.
After moving several times, the councillor of the area, who is from a different ethnic group from hers, gave her a place she could begin again. An act that made her reconsider her perspective on the tribalism fast in the country.
Kwa hivyo mimi nashukuru sana kansela wangu, juu isipokuwa ni yeye hata sijui ningelikuwa wapi. Na hata watu wanasema ukabila, wanakosea. Ni watu kibinafsi, vile tu roho ya mtu inakaa, si ati ni Jaluo nini. Ni vile roho ya mtu iko. Juu huyo si ni Mjaluo. Si kuna Wajaluo wengi wako na shida. Na si aliona shida yangu, na akaona ni mtu kama watu wengine.
Jane blames the death of her son and her health condition on the clashes. She suffers from high blood pressure and diabetes. This has made it difficult to find a form of income and thus wait for her children to support her.
Familia yangu iliguzwa, na hata ndio unasikia nikisema za zingine, hata nikiongea nasikia tu uchungu, kwa sababu isipokuwa ni hiyo vita, sioni kama mtoto wangu angekufa. Mimi nilipoteza mtoto wangu, alikuwa aende form 4, akakufa Januari 1, 2014. Na ni juu ya umaskini ndio inatuwekea watoto hali ya shida, juu watoto wangu nimewalea vizuri, nimewalea na gunia kwa mgongo na hawajai kosa kitu.
With the coming 2017 election, Jen and Ruth, who are still recovering from the 2007 ordeal, pray for one peace, one nation.
Tuwe watulivu na tupendane, kwa sababu sisi watu wadogo wa grassroots ndio tunaumia.
Tunataka amani na umoja, na wafanye kazi na umoja.
Losing a child, all property lost, living with over 23 children in this small house. The ordeal of the post-election violence is still vivid on her mind. Peace, love and unity, it's all she's asking with the coming 2017 election. Mshina Malomba, EBRU TV, Primetime News.
Welcome to our sports news. AFC Leopards returned back to winning ways in style, demolishing Thika United 4-0 at Mumias Sports Complex. Paul Muigai Kyogera made his debut at AFC Leopards, netting a goal and assisting 2.
And he will get the return ball, Durango. Nice turn back inside. Places it in the path. And it's in the net. It's Paul Mungai Kiongera. And he says, calm down. I'm back and I'm here. Scores on his return to the Leopards. That's a spray. Tundirango cuts it back in. Lovely placing right in front of Kiongera, who doesn't miss. This is what the Leopards is supposed to be all about.
Well, you talked about the patient build-up, and the man that is in charge is actually Mangoli in the midfield, together with the man playing on the right-hand side.
He will be relied on to do duty for the Leopards.
Well, he will be relied on, especially that man on the ball, Aswani, coming in
the
second
half. The referee will give it out for a penalty. And Aswani's first contact with the ball here. That Nyaberi one was one, but he was preparing to take a shot. Nyaberi does what defenders like to do most, crosses his feet, making sure that he catches him a bit there. Aswani could have added it. There it is again, to provide the kick for it. Katarega's shot is saved. He comes back and pushes it in the net. So the rebound. Well, here it is again. Elugad goes to the right side, but doesn't recover quickly. And Katarega uses his right foot then to put the ball in the net and change the scoreline for the Leopards. Chosen for many of the assignments for the Leopard side, judging by today's position. A shot by Kiongera, tapped in by Aswani. It's in the net. And the Leopards make it 3. Minert is excited. A resultant rebound is the one that Aswani latches onto. That's the goalkeeper's mistake. Places the ball right in front of Aswani. The hard shot, of course, came from the right side. But surely he knows he should have kept the ball in grasp. Yes.
Well, that marks the end of EBRU Africa Primetime News with me, Grace MUTANGO. Thank you for making time for us. Good evening.